And here's the thing. Here's the thing with Universal, and this is a little off topic, but I think it's an interesting conversation to have. A lot of people talk about Universal potentially surpassing Disney. And I even got a question about this in my community tab recently, and I'm going to answer it right now. Universal, as long as they do what they currently are doing, will never surpass Disney. Universal acts like a number two constantly. And what I mean by that is like when you're a company and you're constantly throwing shots at number one, you cement and solidify your spot as number two. Universal acknowledges every single day they're on Twitter and they throw shade and they shit talk Disney. They're acknowledging Disney is the top dog. Mm-hmm. They are acknowledging that every single day. And that marketing strategy rarely ever works. Yeah, they'll do fine. Universal's not going to go under, but they'll always be number two. They will always be SEGA. They will always be Burger King. They will never be the number one because they don't act like number one. They act like number two, and they perpetuate that number two vibe every single day with tweets like you just mentioned.
When I saw that, I was just, and the fact that they deleted it means they received a lot of heat about, oh, you really don't have a lot, say something, then you can have fun, because Disney, although not perfect with the action and statement, at least they said something. So,
right. And here's the thing too, Alia, is I'm not too convinced. A lot of people talk about Chapek and the response. And I think everyone can acknowledge Chapek's response was botched big time. Mm-hmm. But if Comcast Universal was confronted with the same kind of public pressure and heat and internal pressure and heat, would Brian Roberts of Universal handle it much better? I don't think he could have. I don't think there's any way out of that situation other than what Chapek really did. If Brian Roberts wants to keep quiet on the bill, and all of a sudden you had executives from Illumination and DreamWorks and Universal Pictures and all of Universal's top tier executives coming out against the bill. What are you doing, Brian Roberts? Can't you say something? How would he have responded? Probably the same way Chapek would have responded, in backpedaling and making a statement. There's no other way. Look, Universal only handled it better because no one confronts them. That's it. That's it. There's no heat in their direction. So it's easy for them to handle it because they don't have any pressure. Once the pressure is applied, though, how would Universal have handled it? And I don't think they would have handled it much better than Chapek. I don't know. I could be wrong. That's just my thing, though.
That is interesting that there is a thought that if it wasn't for the annual meeting, Chapek would have continued to stay silent. But there is doubt about that. You're right, because the pressure was intense internally. Yeah. Intense. So it's just how he worded that first statement was what was botched. That's probably the regret, the takeaway of what he, Disney, and other companies have to learn how to handle that first statement from internal pressure from activist employees.